Hello everybody, welcome to another video from the Greater Love Declaration. We are a group of Christians wanting to stand together to declare the goodness of the historic Christian teaching on marriage, sexuality and identity. Particularly today and this last couple of videos we've been talking about the goodness of marriage. It's been a real joy to have Duncan with us for two interviews. So just briefly for introductions, my name's Tom Brand. I'm the Ministry Director for the Evangelical Fellowship of Congregational Churches. Tim, can you introduce yourself, brother?
My name is Tim Vasby-Burnie, vicar of a very normal Church of England parish here in Shrewsbury in Shropshire.
Great. And Duncan, tell us about yourself, brother. Really good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me in. My name is Duncan MacInnes. I run a non-profit marriage ministry called Marriage Prep in a Day, which offers marriage preparation nationally to couples. And I also run with my wife some events in church for married couples.
Great. We're going to ask some questions. Tim, over to you. Fire away, brother.
Yeah, Duncan, it's been great to hear in the first video about how important it is we uphold marriage and the goodness of marriage as church in the nation and society and our communities. My mind goes back to my previous parish where I had, it was kind of sort of the old civic church of the town. I'd have 15 weddings a year and 40 funerals and all sorts going on. And it's very hard to find time to invest in couples, in families, because I was too busy doing all the work. So we want to get practical in this video. How can we support marriage in a way that is feasible, as realistic for an average church, an average minister? Duncan, what are the practical ways we can support marriage?
Yeah, let's have a look at that. I mean, look, in humility, I can't say I've got all the answers, but it's good to look at these things and see if there are potential solutions. So I think the first thing I would say in terms of just a really good practical thing that churches can do is actually to teach about the biblical covenant marriage on a Sunday more often. My experience in churches over the years has been the Ephesians 5 or whatever is sort of like mentioned once a year. I know some other churches are much better perhaps than that. But yes, I think as a general point, as church, we need to teach about marriage and the benefits of marriage and the biblical foundation of marriage more often. I think that would be a very good place to start.
That's so helpful, Duncan. I've been thinking about that recently. So often we've got this really good model when we train men for ministry, that you stick to the text of the scriptures and you exegete what the passage says. And because we're so good at doing that in many ways, sometimes we're not so good at then applying the word to the big cultural issues. Marriage is the big cultural issue at the moment in many, many ways. Because as the world attacks marriage, it's attacking Christ and his church. So you're so right, we can point so clearly to the goodness of marriage.
And it seems to me also that Paul and Peter both model teaching the gospel and then applying it to marriage and parenting and workplace, or however you understand the kind of slavery there. But they apply the gospel to very specific areas of life where we spend our time. So I'm with you, Duncan. We need to be thinking, what's the marriage implication of my teaching today? What's the parenting implication of my teaching in a particular Sunday? So as well as teaching the principles of biblical marriage, the goodness, what else can we do practically, Duncan?
Well, I think, and it's not, we haven't got a lot of time to go into huge detail, but again, just in general terms, I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that we help the ordinary married couple in our churches. Now, I know what it's like for church leaders is that they find couples come to them with significant problems in their relationship, and that needs counselling. And of course, that is very necessary for church leaders to do that. But I think the group, in a sense, that sometimes gets missed out is the ordinary married couple in church who's not got huge problems, but nevertheless has challenges. And I think what I'd like to see happen is for every church to have at least one event a year where it is designed to help the marriages that are there in that church. We do a marriage MOT evening ourselves, Janice and I, at our church. And whatever format you choose, something to help married couples at least once a year.
that connects really nicely with the last video we did with you, Duncan, when you were talking about making the local church the place to go when you've got problems in your marriage or you want to know about marriage. That's so helpful.
I think it's like marriage preparation for new couples. Duncan, what inspired you to start doing marriage preparation?
Yeah, I think it's really strange because I'm a logical, rational person, and the only thing I can logically and rationally conclude is that it was a calling. Because, like, why should I really care about couples in their 20s and 30s? But yeah, I see it as a calling, and we've always loved doing marriage preparation. When one talks about marriage preparation, our actual experience of helping churches around Norfolk and the south and east of England is that it just isn't the case that every couple marrying in church has really good marriage preparation. I know this is a challenge for some leaders because couples just don't want to do it, but sometimes. But I think what we need to try and do in the future is to try and make sure that every couple marrying in church gets really good marriage preparation.
And I know some churches will often advertise that publicly to say, even if you're not getting married here, come along, which might be one way of being a blessing to our community. A little quirk of the Church of England, we actually have a legal duty to prepare couples for marriage if they come to us. So there's a challenge on us. But as you said, Duncan, it's very important that it's a whole church ministry, not just a responsibility of the minister. You mentioned before we started the video, you had 3 good ideas. One was teaching the principles of marriage. Second has been marriage preparation or strengthening resources and strengthening marriages through churches. What was your third, practical support?
Yeah, and look, we're just talking in very general terms here. There's lots of specifics we could go into, but just in general terms, the third thing I would say is we live in a digital age. So we know that, and AI is coming as well. That's going to present challenges for marriage for certain. But in terms of digital, just at a basic level, church websites. When I look at church websites, then it's very difficult to find anything about marriage on many, many church websites. Even the churches you would think that are big supporters of marriage, it's not easy to find something about marriage. So I would like to see every church in our country have a web page on their website that was easy to find, that had information about the great resources that are available in terms of books, podcasts, videos, local courses, regional courses that are available not too far away, digital courses. So a really good resource for every church, because I think this is a huge area where the church is really not communicating about marriage at all.
And tell us, Duncan, your own the web address for your own preparation ministry. I know there are others available, but do tell us what yours is. Give us your web address.
Yeah, our web address is very easy to get because there isn't a lot of marriage preparation work going on. So our web address is marriageprep.co.uk. We were just able to pick that one off the shelf, and we did that in 2014. And so we're very happy to help engage couples around the country, and we do it via Zoom and a digital course from Care for the Family.
Tom, anything to add before I wrap up?
No, that's great. Just to say a big thank you, Duncan, for sharing your desire and prayer that the Lord would bless marriages and that the church would stand up for the goodness of marriage as a gift from the Lord to us.
So let's end with the people who have been following Great Love Declaration. You may be new to this. Know that we live in challenging times when the doctrine of marriage is under threat, but as well as firefighting, and we do want to be a people who build up marriages and build up our churches with a positive view of God's vision for marriage. So let's not just be firefighting and entering into the debates of our day. Let's be encouraging marriage to be a pointer to Christ and the church, a picture of heaven and earth, and an institution that's given by God to uphold individuals, families and society around us. So a big thank you to all of you for watching this second video with Duncan MacInnes, and we look forward to seeing you another time.